Every pregnancy needs utmost care and attention. But certain pregnancies need a little extra attention. An RH negative mother carrying an RH positive baby is at increased risk of complications. BSV is at the forefront to ensure safe delivery in every RH negative pregnancy.
Hello and welcome. You're watching The Outside View here, brought to you by Women's Creek Zone and presented by BSV, Puma Food and Wellness and AMRI Hospitals. I am Rupala Mani, and as always, today, as we have earlier with you, joining us to take us through that encounter between India and New Zealand are former India cricketer Sonia Taber and, as always, South Africa's captain, Dane van Niekerk. Guys, a little bit disappointed there. Not the sort of contest that we would have loved to watch. New Zealand sort of having a huge 62-run margin win over India. Initial thoughts, ladies, because one team definitely showed up. Don't want to know about the other one.
Yep. Okay, I'll jump in. I just think I made the comments on Twitter. I think for me it was a tactical masterclass from the captain, Sophie Devine, and New Zealand. Watching the whole game and watching the matchups to bowlers to batters, and vice versa, you could see that there was definitely plans. The think tank obviously worked, and it was just it was just so good to watch it when it comes to that, where just it looked like every plan they made, every change she made, just looked like they were sound with their plans, and that's what you want to see in a World Cup. I always say that's the 5%. If you actually do the work and you do the tactical work, you can see, unfortunately, in my opinion, New Zealand outplayed India in all facets.
Yes, Sonia, how disappointing was that batting display? We were talking about how you need to probably apply yourselves here. It's not going to be easy to chase down that 260 plus target, and it wasn't going to be easy conditions either. What would you say? Where all did they probably stumble, or where did they go wrong?
I think basically the start which they got, the first 20 overs, that was a very crucial period, I guess, for the Indian team, because 260, chasing 260, you need to have a very good start. And Smriti, again, a bit surprised that she was not the not regular Smriti. She looked unsettled because uh, those gaps which she gets normally, the pierces the gaps. Today she is not getting them. She had Yastika, who was, showed really good intent, but as I said, that they both definitely were not able to rotate the strike and get those advantage in the power play. Hitting over the 30-yard circle, I think could have, one of them, either if they would have tried, just to break that block which the New Zealand bowlers had created, that would have been, I think, a better way to get that start going, and that would have released a bit of pressure from Smriti as well, I felt.
Yes, if you're an Indian fan and you're joining us here on this discussion, sort of like a decoding of that match, you wouldn't be happy if I showed you the scorecard of that match. That's how it panned off. If you just take a look at how that second innings went about its way, and this is what the match summary looks like. Of course, for the 50 overs, New Zealand put up a very daunting 260 for 9. That's a 261 target for India. Amy Satterthwaite sort of anchored that entire innings. Amelia Kerr, doesn't she enjoy getting in against India? Pooja Vastrikar had an amazing outing here today, so did Rajeshwari Gaikwad, but in response, quite a disappointing one. That Harmanpreet, the only lone spark there, quite a valiant effort by her, but really, I mean, if you look at that summary scorecard, you wouldn't really be pleased. Dani, I want to come to you on this point. We were talking about that start being so critical, especially someone like Smriti can completely put the opposition under pressure just by the way she plays some of her strokes. What went wrong for them in that initial first 10 overs? It was going to be, we were talking about how the pressure was going to be on her. But what is it that they probably lacked in that first 10 over phase?
Yeah, for me, it just looked like they were trying to hit through the gaps or trying, as Sonia mentioned, it didn't look like the Smriti we kind of got to know. But if you
Yeah.
look at it as well, they had Susie Bates at extra cover, and she was sitting quite deep because they know how good she hits through there. And again, tactically, that was brilliant because one of their best fielders anticipates really well, and she was sitting on the circle. So there was no element of just softening the hands and dropping and getting off strike. It was just trying to hit through and through and through and putting herself under pressure. And unfortunately, she was found wanting. You kind of felt like sense like she was going to hit it straight to her in the air because she wasn't sure where to go. Um, they kept bowling outside the line of off stump. We know how good she is picking up to square legs. So for me, again, I'm just going to give credit to New Zealand. Smriti is world class. But you know what? She was outsmarted, not like with her brains or anything. I just think tactically, I could not fault New Zealand the way they went about it, and they also knew that there was a inexperienced batter coming in with her that might have put her under pressure, and they kept Yastika quiet as well, and also again they didn't really bowl stump to stump. Funny enough, it looked like they were hanging it out a bit wider, but it just looked like it held in the wicket, and both those batters kind of didn't have an answer.
Very critical and valid point there, Dani, and very critically acute plans that the New Zealand bowling attack came up against that very famed and very, very confident looking Indian batting lineup. But if we just have to deconstruct the batting before we move to some of the positives for the New Zealand bowling unit, just a word on that middle order, Sonia. We keep talking about how, Dani mentioned it is your engine room. And in these conditions, that really comes into play more often than not. What is going wrong in there? There's something that's sort of not fitting in.
See, I think even they are aware that what they have to do over there, and but as rightly said by Danny, that the tactical things which Sophie Devine used today, blocking their strengths. They were giving Smriti to drive, but they had blocked all that offside which she normally scores. The way from there she scores. So that was a very good move, we can say, from Sophie Devine. And coming into the Indian middle order, I think, as I said in the earlier for mid inning show as well, that they need to have those crucial batting partnerships and keep on rotating those singles. When Mithali and Harman started playing, and they were not having hitting too many boundaries, but they were making sure that they are rotating the strike. And moreover, I think the top order should start using the power play. When you are the way today Sophie Devine did, even though Susie Bates got out, she made sure she was punishing those bad balls. So one of them even is out or not able to free the arms. The other person can definitely take up at least and go for to the bowlers and other partner, and just decide that one of them is good go behind the bowler. Because now it's like, you if you're not going to get the start which is expected, then definitely the pressure is going to be coming onto the middle order batsmen. And when they are coming in, that these are the players who like to spend time, who likes to take their time and then get to score runs. So for them, they need that cushion in the start, to play freely or play the way they especially Harman and Mithali, they play taking their own sweet time. And for them to do that, we need that good start.
Yes, valid point. Another valid point there, Sonia. And for those of you who are watching it, and if you just joined us in here on the outside view, just to recap that India has lost its second game against New Zealand by 62 runs. New Zealand, of course, notching up its second out of the three matches so far in the tournament. And Dani, before we go on to celebrating, Harmanpreet, despite coming in with a knock and a losing cause, just a word on Mithali Raj. Must be a tad frustrating. She is getting the starts as she did today.
Yeah, I mean, Mitali is Mitali. She's a legend in her own right. And yeah, also just a bit of out of character. Yes, she does. Sonia was spot on where she does take her time to get in. I just feel like if you take your time to get in, I always tell my batters, if you take your time to get in, you need to make it count. And Unfortunately, she didn't, and I think that hurt them a little bit as well, in my opinion. Bar obviously Yasika not batting as quick as they wanted to, and Mandana and Sonia. Just on that point where you said the power play, these wickets look a bit slower, in my opinion, and we always get well. We know that the moment it's slower, the harder rock the new ball is the most important one before it gets a bit
Yeah.
softer. Yes, it's two new balls, but I agree 100%. But coming back to Mitali, I just think if she allows herself to take time, she needs to allow herself to then make it big, and make it count. And unfortunately, she didn't do that today. And no doubt she'll come back, because that's Mitali Raja. I mean, her record speak for itself, but she's gonna have to find a way, to make sure that 56 balls, 31, 56 becomes a 70 of 90 balls type of thing. So somewhere, the gears needs to shift. Yeah, she's not known to be the big hitters or whatever, but I've seen her hit a couple of long balls, and she certainly has that an aspect of a power game, and it's just about knowing when to use it. And just looked out of character when she kind of double stepped and went across it, because that's not Vitali. She's always so composed. She knows
Yeah.
when to sweep, when to use her feet. And today she used her feet going across it, where when she uses her feet, I know the bowler, she's going to come straight over your head. So, yeah, it might be just a little bit of pressure, but I mean, I spoke to Marizon just watching the game, and I said to Marizon, it's only the second game. It kind of feels like,
Yeah.
because we've been watching a lot of cricket, and you feel like we're in the business end of the tournament, but you know, everybody is only playing their second, third game. There's a lot to play for still, and I just think if any team watch this game, they need to take a leaf out of New Zealand's book. The way they planned and executed. It's not always going to happen for you, but if it happens, if your plans come at 75%, that is going to be the result most of the time. So I hope that a lot of teams watch that and is going to take that on board.
And for all of you
Just to
watching, just another reminder, if there are any questions you have, our experts, you've got experts from all over, and especially these two here are one of the most highly rated ones. So they will definitely field your queries and your thoughts right here on the outside view. But just another reminder, and look at the batting card first before we move to appreciating and talking about the wonderful efforts of the New Zealand bowlers. This is how it looked, not something that you'd be very happy and very pleased about if you're part of that Indian camp. Yastika Bhatia, not a bad start there, but of course, she didn't have Smriti at the end, right at the start. Mitali chipping in with 31 off 56. Harmanpreet, the lone spark there. And of course, Valentine tried to rally it around to see if they could get that much closer to that total, because it was just getting daunting as and when wickets kept falling. Sonia, just a word on Harmanpreet. We were talking about her just a while earlier and how this was going to be so critical for someone like her to sort of get out of that skin and dig deep. Happy with the way she went about.
Yeah, definitely happy. But honestly speaking, I would have loved to see what she did a bit 15 hours early, or maybe 10 hours early. That would have maybe had a different impact on the game, because as we all know that Harmanpreet is a player that she can hit those big sixes at her own will. But that's what she did today. So if she would have just started a bit early, then maybe we could have got some different result, or maybe
Yeah.
close match at least. Whatever, instead of 62, we would have just got bit closer, and you never know, because if Harman gets going, everyone knows, you can just she can single-handedly get that match. And today she was looking good. She was not. She had the balls and the runs gap was very less, hardly
Correct.
10 balls gap. So she was in that zone of scoring those big runs today. So what she did after her 50 or that specific over, if she would have got these same kind of approach a bit early, that might had a bit of different impact on the game.
Yes,
And
but the
definitely
lady.
a brilliant innings today from her for sure, and it will be a very good and positive thing for the Indian team. Harman into runs, so I'm wishing that she just continues to play those brilliant shots.
Yes, it is those moments that can probably just stitch in and make a momentum swing in your favor. That's exactly what a long tournament like the World Cup does for you. But the woman who, of course, stopped her in her tracks was none other than Alicia Kerr. We know she loves doing that much better, if not more, against a team like India. And if you take a look at the bowling card, it was not just her who created that damage. There were quite a few who chipped in there, whether it was Haley Jensen or Tahuhu as well, coming into the party. All of them sort of chipping in and keeping a close check on that Indian batting lineup, just didn't let them breathe. Dane, you mentioned what a brilliant planned tactical attack that was. Just a word on someone like Alicia Kerr with the ball.
Yeah, look, yeah, she was good. I watched the back end when she bowled at Harman, and I'm going, why isn't she going shorter? And I was thinking because maybe that's how I would go about it. But tactically, again, you could see the plans were there. She went fuller wider. So she didn't allow Harman to get under that. Yes, it looked like it was a little bit of a length ball. But when I looked on to the side, the highlights of a wicket, they had a side angle. And I could see that she couldn't get under the ball. And I was thinking, this kid's brave. It's brave bowling. And, you need that. You need it in crunch situations because Sonia mentioned, we've seen Harman really taking bowling attacks down, and she can single-handedly go do that. There was a stage where I kind of thought, if she has a couple of more of these overs, they can actually, close the gap. So, yeah, I think it was just incredibly brave bowling from her at the back end. Probably went a bit expensive for her liking. But I think the way that Harman and Mitali played her initially, early in her spell, was really good. And it's always hard to come in against somebody like Kerr because of her googly. Not many people pick it. So I think it would have been ideal for Harman and Mitali to maybe take a little bit more responsibility against her because they looked a lot more comfortable sweeping while picking, going back a little bit more, just giving themselves a little bit more chance to pick the wrong one. But again, a very brave bowling, and she definitely taught me something today. So yeah, again, that just shows you plans. You could see that Sophie Devine at long off was a bit wider, and they had a deep extra out because of Hanra. I guess that's where she goes. So again, I think just credit with the execution.
Sonia, the White Fern bowling unit, how dangerous are they looking in this tournament?
Oh, absolutely. Today's Tahu's spell was just amazing. The person who is opening the innings gets the ball second change and still comes and gets and bowls this kind of a spell. It's just amazing the way she was bowling. Even in the 45th over, she was bowling. She was just, she's not left at line and length. She's just in that corridor, keeping on consistently bowling, and to do that for 10 long overs, it was really amazing. And Amelia Kerr again, she likes, I think she just is there 100 overs. I won't say 50 overs. She's there in the game 100 overs. She comes into bat, she scores runs, she
Yeah.
gets the ball, she takes wickets. Amazing all rounder for the New Zealand, definitely. And I will be I heard in the commentary that I would have loved to see more of Sophie Devine bowling because she bowls herself very less. I think she's a very brilliant and very tactical bowler. She just comes in for those quick 2-3 overs, gets that wicket, and then she just let the other bowlers do the rest. I would have loved to see her bowl as well because previously in the New Zealand series, she was the one who was getting them the breakthroughs.
Right.
So maybe in the next few matches, I would love to see her bowl.
Yeah, well, I got
And
goosebumps
also,
like this.
just yeah, just to add to it, I was also impressed with Frankie Mackay. The way she was spinning the ball, the revolution she gets, it was very impressive for her. Even if the batters were sweeping her, or it was not that easy to play her. The line and length or the nip she was getting, it was really good to see that.
Well, we can safely say that New Zealand seems to have gotten India's number quite a bit now, and it's just a moment till things change. So we always look at a positive turn of events for both the sides. But just parting words, ladies, from both of you. Certain takeaways or certain things that both the teams would look at. Let's look at India because that's the team that's probably had a few things to plug. Dani, what would they look back and sort of try to correct?
Yeah, I just think the strike rates, if you look at that batting card, and I'm sure, Smriti looks like one of that players that's pretty hard on herself, and she'll definitely reflect. But I also think they must look at their batting lineup. It is a world tournament, and I believe that you need to put your best batters at the top. And not saying that Deepti is not a number 3. I think she's incredibly talented cricketer, but I do believe that you kind of need to break three left-handed partnership. First of all, because it's three left-handers, there's nothing changed. Tactically, just kept on bowling the same line and length. So I would still I'll put Mitalia in at 3 and get Harman in at 4. You need your best batters to bat, in my opinion. So I think just when it comes to their batting lineup, I change it up and I'll get my best batters to and my most experienced batters to face as many balls as possible.
Sonia, from you, what would India need to do to turn things around here
No,
now?
definitely, I agree completely, because at least that's the reason I said in the morning that it would be interesting who comes at number three. When already you
Yeah,
have two left-handers,
yeah,
I would have loved to see Mithali coming in at number three, and that's the place where she has been batting whole career,
yeah.
and that's the best place and the one of the best batters who can bat at number three. But definitely, coming in, if you have two left-handers, definitely they should be thinking of Mithali coming in at number three, as rightly said by Danny, that these are the two batters who should be facing most of the balls in the innings. Apart from that, I would definitely like to see more of a focus on the rotation of strike. I've been focusing on that because even if you're not, see, at this level, I know everyone knows that you're not going to get those loose balls. So for
Yes.
that, if you're going to keep on rotating the strike, you are getting six singles in that. After, once the batter is settled, definitely at this level they can improvise, they can get those shots like today what Harman played. But when you Harman could get those shots because she had a very good partnership with Mithali. They got the those strike rotating, and because of that, the runs also started coming in. Because of which the later Harman could just go and hit those shots. So I think they should more focus on that rotation of strike thing.
All right. And as we keep reminding ourselves, as we come to the towards the end of this show, all of you who are watching, do keep sending us your responses, your questions. In fact, I believe we do have one response from Ankit Bisht, who says very difficult for India to qualify for semis now, as they won't be able to beat England and Australia. Keep the faith, Ankit. Keep the faith. Where's the faith? Things turn around. There's nothing that's over, as they say to the fat ladies sings, or till anyone sings. But guys, Dane, Sonia, any remarks on that one? I think, say, on that particular comment.
I don't think it's a fair comment to make. We just touched on the fact that it's only early doors in a tournament and anything can happen. And we've seen in tournaments like this that it's not. Yeah, it is subject to your performances and your results. I mean, you want to win, so you don't have to rely on other results. But it's a funny tournament, and it's a high pressure, and there's a lot of things that can happen. So I don't think you can actually say that any team is not going to make the semi-finals at the moment. I really feel like it's the most close match World Cup that we'll probably see.
Yeah,
Sonia.
I agree to this. Definitely, it is just the second match Indian team are
Yeah.
playing. You already have seen too many ups and downs in the tournament. So I think it's too early to comment about this. And as you rightly said, keep faith.
Yeah, keep faith, and it's a tournament. You need to peak at the right time, and a loss always sort of helps to calibrate things. So it's always good to
uh,
have one big loss before you start winning
yeah,
again.
because I think New Zealand was the team who lost to Pakistan in the
Yeah.
practice matches. So you just have to wait. It's rightly said by Danny that this is just the start of the tournament. It's very early to comment on who will qualify or not, because a long time, there are many more matches to come.
Yes, that's the beauty of sport. That's the beauty of sport everywhere, whether it's cricket or any other sport. And we love seeing those contests and those upheavals right here. And we'll get you all of that through this tournament here on the outside view. A big match, of course, coming up tomorrow. Danny's going to keep an eye out for that one. It's South Africa versus Pakistan. But for now, we're going to thank both of them to join us here. I think Danny's going to take leave and go and probably have some snooze time there.
Absolutely.
But thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Danny, as always. And thanks to all of you for watching in and joining in on this particular review episode. But stay on for more right here, and we'll see you again tomorrow.